My name is Kelsey Marcereau, and I'm one of the Associate Directors of Admission at the University of Georgia, and I'm really happy to be here with y'all. This area is my territory, and so I kind of travel to this area. I talk to students from this area, so if you have any questions at all, I am your contact person, and I'm excited to speak with you. So my colleague Michael and I are going to talk to you just a little bit tonight about what the University of Georgia has to offer and some unique things about us. First thing I want to address here are the three pillars that we have are wisdom, justice, and moderation. The three pillars of our arch that are kind of iconic on our campus. That's the one thing that identifies the University of Georgia. How many of y'all know the legend of the arch? What's the big deal with the arch? What can you not do with the arch? Don't walk under it. Yeah, okay, so as long as we're here, we'll go ahead and establish that. When you come visit campus, walk around the arch. One of the many, many fun traditions that we have on our campus. So the University of Georgia is actually on your publications. You'll see the word first in many locations on your publications, but we are the first publicly chartered state institution in the United States, and that is a fact that no one else can claim in this country, and we are very, very proud of. We like to try to be pioneers in different areas, and we take being the first very seriously. How many of y'all have been to Athens? Good. How many of y'all are coming on Saturday to cheer with me? Anybody? Some of you? Okay, good. Athens is just a place that if you have not been, I really encourage you to go. Throughout your college seeking experience, it is key to go and visit campuses. I tell the story all the time of when I was a senior in high school, looking at different schools. I went and I had this place in my mind. I knew I wanted to go there. I was so excited about it. And I went and toured with my dad, and probably about halfway through the tour, I looked at him and I said, "Dad, this just isn't right. This isn't the right fit for me." And so it's all about what's going to be the best fit for you as an individual student. And coming to campus, going on a tour, seeing what we have to offer, looking at the other students, looking at the opportunities, and really kind of seeking within yourself, is this the right place for me? Is this the right fit? Athens has been voted time and time again as the quintessential college town. I feel like weekly we're kind of getting emails with Athens was voted in this magazine and this magazine. So we're very fortunate to live in such an outstanding and beautiful setting. A lot of cultural events going on, whether it's live music, which is kind of what put Athens on the scene, in a national scene about 20 to 30 years ago. But also cultural events, lots of speakers coming to Athens, as well as events like the Twilight Criterium Amateur Bicycle Race that comes to campus every April. And it's a fantastic event. The whole town goes out, lines the street, watches this bicycle race that goes through the heart of downtown, and just really exciting and unique opportunities that come to the town of Athens. Also not too far from here, about an hour and a half. So I like to say it's far enough, but not too far away. So those of you who are looking for a little adventure. We do have a large campus, so about 605 acres total, and we are a very large university, just over 34,000 students, and that is total, including graduate and professional schools. Undergraduate is about 26,000 students, so to kind of put that into perspective. You all are probably, if you're at one of the large public schools here in Cobb County, used to a large setting, but there are so many ways at the University of Georgia to make that large university or that large school feel a whole lot smaller, and that's something that UGA offers in numerous different ways. One thing we're very proud of is our average class size, which is about 39 students, and that our student to faculty ratio still remains at about 18-1. I think at a large university there's a myth or a misconception that you're never going to get to know a professor, that you can coast through your 4 years at UGA and really not get to know any one professor or have hands-on experience in what you're studying. With numbers like these, it's really not possible. You will get an opportunity to meet professors, and we'll talk about some of those ways a little bit later in the presentation, but it is what you make it. If you want to get super involved and make UGA your new home and seek out different opportunities, they are there for you, just waiting for you to grab onto them. Last year we had over 20,000 applications, which was a record for us, and so our level of interest is certainly going up around the country, which we are very, very proud of. We're enrolling a class of just over 5,000 students that started with us a couple of weeks ago. We're also really proud of this number here at the bottom, which is our freshman to sophomore retention rate, 94%, and we have been consistent at about 94% for the last 10 years or so. We didn't just have a good year and throw that number up there, but I like to think that we're making good choices of who we're bringing onto campus. Students are really looking within themselves and deciding that UGA is a good fit. We also have a lot of the support necessary for students to be successful. They have a good time, they feel supported, they feel successful, and they want to come back after their first year. I mentioned making a large university feel a whole lot smaller. There are over 675 different clubs and student organizations on campus. That could be anything from our famous Red Coat Band, which is the marching band on campus, to different Greek organizations, to cultural organizations, philanthropic organizations, or just fun clubs, like you see a picture of the juggling club there on the bottom right. So anything that you may be interested in or involved in here in your home high school, or maybe something that you want to try. You've always been curious about the country of Brazil, and you'd like to go join the Brazilian Culture Club. Go for it. That's an opportunity that you will have at the University of Georgia. We also like to highlight our Ramsey Student Center. Voted number 1 by Sports Illustrated magazine for collegiate athletic facilities. This is where our students get to exercise and where they get to go play. We have 3 swimming pools, a diving well, any kind of exercise program or class that you'd be interested in, as well as machines. You could take the footprint of Sanford Stadium and put it inside of the Ramsey Student Center. That is how large this facility is. So just one of the many fantastic facilities we have available for students on our campus. So the University of Georgia is composed of 17 different schools and colleges. Again, we do not admit to those specific schools and colleges, so if you don't know what your major is right now, that is perfectly fine. You're going to have a lot of different opportunities to explore those schools and colleges once you get to our campus. But within those 17 schools and colleges, we're able to offer 170 different majors and programs, some that you may not even know exists at this point. And you'll be sitting in one of our dining halls talking to some friends, and someone says, "Hey, I was talking to an upperclassman who is majoring in fill in the blank." And you ask some questions, and all of a sudden you think, wow, that's really something cool that I didn't even know existed as a major. How wonderful, and you have found what you want to spend your life studying. So lots of options for hands-on research, for opportunities within those different programs as well. This particular page, I know it's kind of small, but you'll be able to find it on the admissions website. This is a great way for you to explore all those 170 different majors that we have to offer. So say, for example, you know you want something to do with business, but you don't really know beyond business, but let's just type in business just to see what's available. You'll notice all the different things that have highlighted in red have something to do with business. It looks like we have 48 results that came back, something to do with business. And so you could kind of search through those and seek those out and see what we have to offer, see what catches your eye and what you may be interested in. Once you find one, so say we click on finance here, it's going to take you to a page that gives you a really in-depth description of what that major and what that program entails specifically. It'll give you a link to view that college or that program's website. And it also, on the right-hand side, it says you might also explore. So some similar interests that if you're interested in business or finance, maybe you want to check out these as well. So just some exploration that you can do on your own. Study abroad is something that is really popular on our campus. About 38% of our students graduate with some kind of study abroad experience. They do not have to be in your major. You can go get your science requirement taken care of in Costa Rica, which is the campus pictured on our top left-hand side of this slide. So we do have about 100 programs on all 7 continents, so that does include Antarctica. So if you've ever wanted to go to Antarctica and study abroad, this is your chance. We do also have 3 campuses that we own around the world. I mentioned Costa Rica, which is in the rainforest cloud, the top left-hand picture. We have eco classrooms, and they're all outdoors. The lab is quite literally right outside of your classroom there. The bottom left is a picture of our program in Cortona, Italy, which is one of these beautiful old medieval hill villages. A lot of cultural studies go on there, as well as art history, things like that. And then on the right is our most popular program, I think, in Oxford, England, at the University of Oxford, where our students have access to the Oxford Dons, and they're able to learn in the English system of education from those very fine professors. And it's a great partnership that we're able to form with Oxford. First Year Odyssey is a program. I mentioned that you would be able to get to know your professors and that you would have one-on-one experience with them. This program was specifically designed to enhance what we have available on campus. Professors on our campus, we are a Research One institution, so they are all doing some fantastic research. They want to teach their students about that research. They may have a unique passion that they want to share with students. So these First Year Odyssey classes are capped anywhere between 15 and 20 students. So it's a very small group that you'll be with. It's a 1-hour credit class that all first-year students are required to take. And it could be, the book is just fantastic. There are over 300 different courses you can choose from. It's so much fun to flip through that book and see what we have to offer. Some examples are listed up here, like Bollywood, sustainability, fashion. Some other favorites include books that change the world. There is a class on SpongeBob SquarePants and marine biology and the connection between those two. So there are some really fun things that you can do with these courses. But again, these professors have a passion for this. You get to know a professor on a much smaller basis. And because it's your first year, chances are good you will keep up with that professor in the form of a mentorship over the course of the next 4 years. Curo is another unique opportunity that we're able to present to our students at UGA. Curo stands for the Center of Undergraduate Research Opportunities. So I mentioned that all of the professors on our campus are doing cutting-edge research. This gives students an opportunity to get involved in that research. Students create their own projects, and so they're not simply working for a professor and doing kind of their lab work or their grunt work. They own a project with professorial guidance. They'll make sure that you know what you're doing, that you're going in the right direction, that you're using the right resources, but they really guide you through that, and you have a project that you own. Could get published, you could present at a national or local conference, but you can imagine being able to put that experience on your resume or your application to medical school or law school or wherever it may be, that you have undergraduate research experience that students at most colleges and universities don't get access to until they are in graduate school. So we're able to offer that as early as your first year at UGA. We do have a great honors program on our campus. It is about the top 10% of first-year students coming in. They do require a separate application, so keep that in mind, and that deadline is February 1st for honors. They have a fantastic website, and they offer a lot of different opportunities for students, such as some honors level courses, some unique internships as well that run through the honors program, and just some different courses that are not available to the general population. At this point, I'm going to bring up my colleague Michael Cabe, who's going to talk about admissions specifically for UGA. So thanks, y'all, and here's Michael.
All right, I know you are very excited. We're going to talk numbers and scholarships and all this other types of fun things. So get very excited. What I want you all to do is I want you to pull out this sheet right here. This is going to be, number one, it can also be your fan. But number two, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the numbers that are on this and kind of walk you through what is it that colleges are telling you when they're giving you all of these different numbers. So as you're going to see, we have three major themes up here at the very top. First is going to be GPA. The second is going to be the types of courses that you've taken. And then coming in third is going to be your test scores. So let's start breaking it down one by one. First is going to be your GPA. We look at what is called a core GPA. So it's going to be different than the GPA that is found on the bottom corner of your transcript. So I want everyone to make a fist. So a core GPA is your math, your science, your social science, your foreign language, and your English and Comp Lit. If it doesn't fit on your fist, it doesn't fit in your GPA. We make two exceptions, AP Art and AP Music, because those are AP courses and we're going to be able to take those. That means that your underwater basket weaving classes don't count. It also means that if you take advanced lunch and you happen to get an A in tater tots, we're not going to look at that. So we're only going to be looking at your core courses. That's what we're going to be looking at for this type of GPA. Now, how many of you are already taking AP and IB courses? Fantastic. How many of those, the hands went up, you're getting weight added to those? Awesome. We keep that weight. For those who do not have weight added to those courses, we're going to add the weight to it so that you stay on the same playing field as those who are getting weight. The only things we do not add weight to are going to be honors classes or college level classes, anything that's not an AP or an IB course. That's because AP and IB are taught on a national level, so we can keep them on the same par. Now, let's also talk a little bit about the types of classes that you're going to be taking. That's the second item right there, and that tells us, how did you earn your GPA? I'm sure that many of us can sit here and say that we know one thing is true. Not every 4.0 is created equal, right? So if you take all of the lowest levels of classes and you're doing a 4.0, how did you earn that GPA? Now let's look at your GPA and then start looking at the classes that are behind that GPA. How did you earn your GPA? What did you do to get there? So we're going to see that you've taken all of these different courses, and it puts that number into perspective. We're also going to be looking at where are you coming from your high school. And this is where we're going to decide what your curriculum rigor is going to be. So the curriculum rigor that we're looking at is going to be based on what is offered at your high school. So let's say that at one school, they're offered 5 AP courses. Then at a school 10 miles down the road, they offer 30. Well, I look at the student that went to school with 5 APs and say, well, they could have taken 30 down the street. Why didn't you? That's not fair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at what is offered to you at your high school, and then I'm going to see how did you make use of the academic environment that you were given. So we're going to go and tailor-make that admission decision to you at your high school. That makes it to where we really can look at you and your own element. And then we go into number 3, and that is going to be a test score. And it actually is number 3 for us, because a 4-year look at a student is much stronger to us than a 4-hour look the morning after prom. Think about it. So we want to see what you do in and out of that classroom, and we're going to look that heavier than what you do for 4 hours. But we are going to have this as a baseline because everyone needs to take an SAT or an ACT. You're all coming from different high schools, and that's going to be tailored in your GPA and the types of classes you can take. So we use your SAT and ACT scores as a baseline for everyone, but it comes in third in importance for us. So what do we look at when we're looking at the SAT and the ACT? Let's say you take the SAT 3 times. I'm going to look at your highest critical reading, your highest math, and your highest writing. I do the exact same thing with your ACT. It's called super scoring. We don't do like tech does. We don't super duper score. We keep it simple. We're going to go either super scoring in the SAT or in the ACT. We do not mix those two together. With that, we will want to see every single test that you take, because for some, they do better on the ACT. And for some, they do better on the SAT. Statistically, boys do better on the ACT. I did. So we're going to look at the test that makes you look the best. So we want to know what it is and which test of those are going to make you look the strongest. So if you take both SAT and ACT, we only look at the one that is the strongest. So with these numbers, what we're looking at is these are going to be the middle 50%. So just like Georgia Tech, 25% of our students were above this range, and then 25% of our students were below this range. So that kind of tells you what is competitive for last year's group. But that's just it. That's last year's group. This is going to change with every application class because you set the bar. Each senior class has their own personality, and you guys move this bar up and down because you all are going to be different each year. So this is what we go for between a 3.77 and a 4.05 for our GPA, between 4 and 6 AP and IB courses, but remember that is going to be completely dependent on what is offered to you at your high school. And then you'll see our ranges there for the SAT and the ACT. So we have two types of admission decisions that we're going to go through. The first is early action. Shout out to me and tell me what is different between early action and early decision. Early action and early decision. I think I heard it. Binding, exactly. Our early action is a non-binding process. That means if you are admitted through early action, you do not have to let us know you are coming until May 1st. With early decision, that is going to be a binding option. So make sure you're paying attention when you're working through college applications as to which one you're applying to. So for us, we are a non-binding process. Our early action process is only going to look at the big three. So your GPA, the types of classes you've taken, and then the SAT and ACT scores. So that's what we're looking at. It's going to be the academic profile of a student. Now, you're probably looking at the application and thinking, well, why in the world do I need to give you my leadership record and my activities and my work history? That's because we're going to use your application for admission for scholarships. So go ahead and fill it out and make sure you're putting everything on there you need us to know. We're also going to need an official transcript and a counselor evaluation for early action. With this counselor evaluation, what we're learning is what is offered at your high school. What is the curriculum that is given to you? And then we're going to be looking more into the types of grades that you earned. Did you know some states have a letter grade E? What's an E? We don't know. So you have to have your counselor tell us what a letter grade E is. It's an F, but they just call it an E. So we have to know what it is. They're being a little bit nicer. So some states have different types of grading scales. So we have to be able to go, because we have students applying from all over the world. So we need your guidance counselors to tell us what the grading scale is so we can then look at what your numbers really mean. And then, of course, the necessary evil of SAT and ACT scores. We have to have those. Now, let's start talking a little bit about regular decision. This is going to be the holistic look at the application process. This is the more traditional style where we're going to be looking at your leadership and activity records. And I feel like with this drum line back here, I should be doing this to a samba or something like that. But I'll spare you. So our regular decision process, this is going to be the holistic version where you see we need part one of the application where we're going to see your leadership and activities. I want to know your work history. The big thing we're looking at with your leadership and involvement is I don't want to see that you are involved in 15 different things. That tells me that you can show up on club day and sign a roster. What I do want to see is that you have a handful of things that you're passionate about and that you've gotten involved in and that you're taking leadership roles within that. That's what we're looking for. We're looking to see that you have ownership over something and a commitment to things. We like to see that you stick to them year after year. With this, we're also going to be asking for 4 short essays. Okay, we're going to talk about these for a minute. These essays are really important. These are the time when you get to sit with me and talk to me through that essay. We don't have interviews either, just like Georgia Tech, but you have time through 4 short essays to tell me your story. Kind of what, Mom and Dad, I'm only going to hit you here. Do what Paul Harvey says. Tell me the rest of the story. So I want to know what is behind you. In these essays, I want you to tell me what gets you fired up, what gets you angry, and what gets you out of bed before noon on Saturday. I want to know. The biggest thing that I can tell you to do with these essays is if when you finish it, you hand it off to one of your good friends and they learn something new about you. That's a good essay. Now let me give you some things that make an essay a little bit more just like the rest of them. It goes a little bit something along the lines of this. I was at X meet, match, or game. I was injured. And after my injury, I learned that I was very resilient. My life has forever been changed. Okay. If you end an essay by saying, my life has forever been changed, you never told me why. I want to know why. The other one that I love is I have gone on a mission trip, or I've gone and volunteered at this involvement. I saw someone with less than I did. I came back and my life has forever been changed. Why? Why are you different? What changed? When you were hurt, what made you angry? What made you frustrated? What made you get up the next day and keep trying again? That's what I want to know. I don't want the Reader's Digest version of what happened to you. I want to know what happened in your head and what happened in your heart. That is the essay that jumps off of the page. You have a story. You have something to tell me. And please make sure that it's your story. Don't do like we have had some in the past that have cut and pasted the entire descriptors of movies and placed them in the essay. If I can Google your essay in 2.5 seconds, try again. We get that. So what I want you to take with this essay is time. I want you to give me something that when I look away from my computer screen, I know you. I know something about you. These essays are also your time to explain away anything that I need to know. Let's say that you had a personal situation in your sophomore year, and for some reason, that brought your grades down. You were struggling, but afterwards, you learned, you got over that, and you came back from that, and your grades went back up, and the grades start showing you're doing better. If you never tell me that's what happened, I can't excuse it. If you tell me about it, I can excuse it. And so what may look like a weakness on your application then becomes a story of triumph. Comes a story of you telling me how you turned yourself around and how things got rough, but you fought for it and you turned it around. So make your weaknesses your strengths in these essays. Tell me the story. Tell me what makes you different. And tell me what makes you unique. You've got a lot to tell me, but you've got 4 short essays to do it in. The next thing we're going to ask for that's different than early action is we're going to ask for a teacher recommendation letter. Please make sure the teacher likes you. I know that sounds simple, but please. And going back throughout all of this application process, what I want you to do is I want you to make sure that you do more than spell check. When you cut and paste segments out of Word into your application, make sure that it's more than spell checked. There was a great applicant who told us that every single day after school, he would go and help students catch up in their classes, and that he just loved to be able to slide into that classroom after school and torture students every day. He meant to tell us he was tutoring students. We still called the cops. And then the poor applicant who told us that for 4 years she was a candy striper. That was fun. So we want you to read over what you're writing into these applications. Go into depth with these. Have someone look over and say, did you mean to say this? Spell check only catches so much. Someone else can catch it when you misuse a word, and we might call the cops. So make sure you're looking into that. So here are our deadlines. For us on early action, we will have that due by October 15th. Our application came live today, so it is up and available for you all to go on and apply. That will be due on October 15th. That means that we will take test scores that are taken in the month of October. So I know there's an October 5th test date. If you are taking that test, great. Make sure that you have us on that automatic send list, and we will go ahead and add it to and update your file, and that will be used for early action. Any tests taken in November, it is too late. We cannot continue that for our early action process. We will try and let you know by November 30th. That is the latest that we will let you know this admission decision. If you happen, there are going to be 3 decisions. I'm going to break this down for you. 3 decisions that are going to come out of the early action. The first is going to be accept. Great. We'd love to have you. You have until May 1st to let us know. The second is going to be a denied. We do deny students during early action, but they would have been denied during regular decision. The third and the most popular decision we give is deferred. Deferred is a good thing. Say that with me. Deferred is a good thing. Deferred does not mean denied. Perfect. So on November 30th, please don't call and tell me I got deferred, so why did you deny me? I didn't. Deferred actually means we like what we saw. The difference is you were academically similar to a bulk of the class. So what we want is the rest of the story. We want to be able to go in and see everything else that you have done. We like your academics. We just want to see what else you're going to bring to the table. And that's what deferred means. And so if you are deferred from early action, we're going to have you move on over into the regular decision. And by the way, that does not hurt or help you if you are deferred. All right? So don't think that applying early action is a bad thing. It actually is a good thing. With our January decision, that is when regular decision is going to be due by January 15th. That means if you take an SAT or an ACT in the month of January, we will be taking that in with your score. Just make sure you have that automatically sent to us as well. And then we always say that we're going to give these decisions out by April 1st. What's wrong with that day? April Fools. We'll never do that again. We won't do that again, I promise you. Nope. What we will do, and this is something that you all can know, is we are never going to announce an admission decision without it being on a Friday after 4 o'clock. Because I'm gone. I will be in my Y2K shelter hiding. And we will be back to help you all on Monday. So we will release admission decisions only on Friday after 4 o'clock. And then keep noting, make sure you know that the commitment deadline is by May 1st. So let's talk a little bit about the money. On the fast fact sheet that I gave you, the white sheet, this is going to have a lot of this information on there for you as well. And so this is going to be the breakdown of tuition and fees. And know that there's 2 estimated costs down there. Those will be nothing that you'll see on a bill. Those are what we have surveys done by our financial aid office to give you an estimation of how much to expect those costs to be. And the cost of living expenses, that can depend upon your student. So that can go up or down. So you see down there, that is going to be the in-state cost. But remember, this is before any scholarships and before HOPE. And you see there are some of our rankings right there for our financials for you. So let's talk about some of our scholarships. We do have some fantastic scholarships. And as I was mentioning a little bit earlier, some of our scholarships come directly off of our application. These 2 scholarships, the Foundation Fellowship and the Bernard Ramsey, these are 2 scholarships that require 1 extra application for them. The minimums for that is going to be a 3.8 GPA and a 2100 SAT or a 31 ACT composite. With this will be a $10,500 stipend. This also comes with a lot of extras with it. This will be with the honors program. You're going to have a cohort that you will work with. There's between 18 and 20 foundation fellowships every year. In Bernard Ramsey, those are going to be between 20 and 25. And these students actually travel together. They take a trip out to England together. They do several different study abroad programs all together as a group. This application for these 2 scholarships will be due on November 4th. And if you have more questions about this scholarship, it is a great one. If you meet those requirements, definitely feel free to grab Kelsey and I a little bit later on after this. Now, for the bulk of our scholarships, we're going to look at your application for admission. So we're going to be looking at your leadership, your academics, as well as a need-based as well. These are all the different things we're going to be looking at for your scholarship. And so that's why we have on your early action that you give us your leadership and involvement records. That way we can see everything that is going on with that. This is a little bit of a breakdown of some of the different scholarships we offer. But the one thing I want you to take note of is December 15th. That is the priority deadline for our scholarships. It's kind of the same mentality that if you're going to rob a bank, go while they have all their money. We still have all our money by December 15th, so make sure you get your application in, so we'll go ahead and have you considered for those scholarships. And while we're talking about those scholarships, actually I want to go back on that just for a moment. How many of you are seniors have actually already started looking at fastweb.com? There should be a lot more hands in the air. Fastweb.com. One more time for you. Fastweb.com. This is a scholarship site. I like to call it the scholarship dating site, kind of like an eHarmony for a lot of money. This is a site where you go online and you create a profile and get very specific with these profiles. If you are left-handed, tell it that you are left-handed. If you have freckles, say that you have freckles. There are scholarships for people with freckles. They're awesome. So make sure you're going on there and creating this profile. With this, it will actually match you to all of these different scholarships that you are eligible for. There's even a scholarship to NC State, if you want to look at that all you have to do is be born. Well, with a certain last name, that's the only caveat. I'm not going to tell you what the last name is. Y'all need to research it on your own. But there's scholarships out there just to apply for. All you have to do is click on them and apply online. There was a young man, and he came into our office, and he said, I liked FastWeb. I applied for around, 89 scholarships. How many do you think that he actually got? I got 59 scholarships. He cuts a paycheck to go to school every semester. It may be a scholarship for $250. That's your books for an entire semester. It may be a scholarship for $1,000. That's a lot of money. When else in your life are you going to work for an hour and get $1,000? Never again. Trust me. Ask your mom and dad. $1,000 per hour. You could be earning that. So go out there. Start looking at these different scholarships. There's also going to be a lot of other scholarships that are going to be based just around in your local community. How many of you have went by a McDonald's, looked at a Wendy's, seen a Target, drank a Coke, looked at a Pepsi but didn't drink it because we're in Georgia? Exactly. You have been by all of these big local organizations, and they have a lot of money, and they are looking to give those out for scholarships. A lot of the time, no one asks them for that money. Go and ask. They've got scholarships. Go onto their websites. Search for their scholarships. We all know that college is getting expensive. It's getting more and more every year. So go out there and look for these different scholarships. If you go to your public library, there's going to be a rush in the public library in about 4 hours, I promise you. There is going to be a book of scholarships there that are locally based. A lot of them are going to be based with local charity groups, local philanthropic groups, and they're going to have a scholarship. The guy that I was telling you about a little bit earlier, his favorite scholarship to talk about is he won a scholarship for the advancement of women in education. He won a scholarship for the advancement of women in education. He was the only one that applied. They had 2 scholarships. They rolled them into one and gave them both to him. So apply. It doesn't hurt. You could be the only applicant for this scholarship, and you could win $250. That helps. Every little drop helps. So focus on that. Start making that profile and start looking around for those different scholarships. Now, what I want you to do after this is I want us to continue this conversation. I want us to be able to keep working with you and keep this going and educate you more about what UGA has to offer and what it is that we can do for you. So we have some great resources for you. One of them is going to be our website, which is going to be the top left, and then our Facebook page. We have a great Facebook page, and then our blog. Our blog is awesome. It is actually going to give you a lot of myths, and a lot of those are going to be debunked. My favorite myth last year was we only let in a certain number of brunettes. I don't think anywhere on our application we asked for your hair color. But that was the myth. Only a certain number of brunettes came in this year. I'm angry. Okay, I'm so sorry. How would we have gotten that information? You Facebooked me. No, I'm sorry. 21,000 applications. I'm not going to review your Facebook. I don't have that much time. So we're not going to be doing those types of things. What we're looking for is going to be spelled out for you right there on that website. If you happen to have a smart device, if you have an iPhone or any Apple product, we actually have a fantastic UGA app, which you can check your UGA admission decision on there as well as have your status check on there for you. If you want to go and find out who your admissions counselor is, you already know. Her name is Kelsey Marcereau, and she spoke to you just a moment ago. You can go on there and find out where we're going to be. You can find out what organizations we're going to be meeting with, as well as what big fairs we're going to be located at. And that you can find under the Meet the Staff tab on our website. And then finally, we want you to come and actually set foot onto our campus. Come and enjoy the great city of Athens. And all you have to do is go to visit.uga.edu, and you can set up a reservation, come into one of our information sessions, and go on a tour. We'd love to show you around campus and help this be your next home.